So I decided to drop the belly hydraulic pump on this Farmall M. Didn't think to video at first, so I've already taken the two hydraulic side fittings out from these holes on this side. This one broke off. I can get that easily later. This one didn't break off. They just screw in with internal threads to the belly pump. And then going around this side, another very similar threaded NPT fitting and the control lever. So the control lever is just a bolt, goes through sort of a four-sided actuator there to run the valve inside. Comes off pretty easily. So now the three hydraulic fittings and one actuator lever are off. It's held on with four vertical bolts, but this thing's heavy and very awkward. So the way I'm controlling it, it's an old trick that Farmall people know. They take each bolt out one by one, put a threaded rod in, piece of all thread. So I'll have four of those. The nuts here are how I'm going to lower it. So it's tedious, but you, little by little, you take all four nuts down to the ground. You can also put a hydraulic jack under there and let it down a little faster, but the rods are important to control this thing because it's heavy, awkward, and it'll tip over immediately if I pull it out of there without these control rods. So let me get three more of these in. Okay, all four all thread pieces are in, sitting on the nuts. A little bit of tapping and it starts to separate. It's down, gonna sit on the nuts, and then I'll use a ratcheting wrench to save a little bit of time, but I'll walk this thing down to the floor or onto a furniture dolly, and it won't fall on me or cause any major headaches. That's the plan anyway. This is 3/8 all thread course. What's that? 3/8 16, 2 feet long if you want to play at home. All right, I know you guys saw it, but you didn't say anything. Next time, tell me. The fill cap right here has to come off so that the fill tube can go down with the pump. I forgot that. Held me up for a couple of minutes, but then I remembered. So there's another tip. I also forgot to mention that underneath there's a shaft, a drive shaft. It actually comes from the rear. A lot of people think it comes from the front, but comes back in from the transmission. It's a split shaft, and that has to be vertical so that the pump can slide right off of the drive shaft. I didn't forget that, I just forgot to say it. So let's get this down lower. And if you don't have ratcheting wrenches, here's a good place to have some, in case you got to run nuts down 2 feet of all thread. But actually I'm got this under control pretty much. I'm going to switch over to a hydraulic jack and let it down the rest of the way. Got about an inch or so of clearance there, enough to see a bunch of rust and who knows what else. All right, now I'm letting the hydraulic jack bring it down. Just letting the nuts stay there for safety. You see it come down and sit on the nuts. The jack doesn't have to be super straight, which is good because I'm not, because all the guide and control is with the threaded rods. But this is all but done at this point. Spin the nuts by hand and let the jack down a little bit at a time for safety. Moving fast now. Down she comes. I'll be taking that 4x4 out because I don't need the room anymore. It's a little cockeyed on there, but I'll fix that momentarily. hard to work one-handed with a camera phone. So it's hanging pretty low. I stopped it to the point where I could take the jack out and leave the 4x4 under. Now I'll lower the nuts onto that, let it on the 4x4, and take the threaded rods out. I'll need another piece of wood to balance it. Decided not to get a furniture dolly all dirty with this thing. There's the shaft I talked about being vertical. That has to be straight up and down so that the pump will slide out. And there's the fill pipe that I forgot to take the cap off of. But this job's almost done. Well, there it is on the ground. Well, on a custom stand made of a 4x4 and a 4x6, but it's detached from the tractor. It's one big heavy hunk of cast iron. Not easy to remove, not easy to reinstall, but it can be done. This method is slow, but it's safe with one person. Be much nicer with a helper. It would go twice as fast, if not better. But it can be done, and that's down, and now I can get to the clutch, which is what I'm after. Clutch and throwout bearing. On a Farmall M, you can actually change the clutch disc without splitting the cases, and the throwout bearing as well. So I'm headed in there next after I move this belly pump, lift-all pump, out of the way.